Gonna sound something like this. Oh my mama, don't act like you relate to me, cause I don't know what you've been through. Oh my.
Then kind of, turning, wheels turning.
Super Bowl. So I'm gonna talk about our trip and the tradition.
Yeah.
And then I have some quiz questions for you guys.
All right.
Compiled from over the last few years.
Okay.
From Super Bowl.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
And you have these questions compiled on your phone right there.
I have a little cheat sheet, yes.
Very nice. So I don't have a cheat sheet or anything.
You don't need anything.
Okay.
It's all good.
All right.
We just shoot shit.
So before we get started then, well, you let me know when we get started and I'll give you guys your gifts.
Okay.
I'll throw you off track a little bit.
Okay.
How about that?
Give me the gifts after I introduce you. I'll introduce Jake, then I'll introduce you.
Okay.
Well, fellas,
Okay.
we
How
know
do we
you
look?
now don't have a cheat sheet. And this is a show about shooting the shit. Your prelim show is over. Vegas Junkeez are now live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is an epic episode about to happen. I hate the word epic. Everyone hates the word epic. But this is epic. Jake Ellenberger from the UFC. This is tradition.
It is. This is a tradition.
It is tradition.
And we've got the Pope
Yeah.
of Detroit, Roger Silvestro.
Well, thank you, John. Yes, and I'm here also.
Also the host of Roger That.
I'm also the host of Roger That. And thank
Yeah.
you. And I appreciate that. And I also brought something both to you guys.
You did.
Yes, I brought it here from Detroit, and a friend of mine, Jody, made them in the middle of the night for me. Okay?
Yep.
And
I'm so intrigued.
so, that one's for you.
Look at you, Vegas Junkeez.
That's awesome.
I have another one for
dig
Jake.
it. Look at this.
Outstanding. Thank you.
And then on the back side,
this?
obviously I left the Roger That, so you can never get rid of me.
Right, so we're always
Connected.
with you.
I love
it. Can you see that there, Ty? Vegas Junkeez. How about Roger That? You see Roger That? Give Roger a shameless plug. Yeah, folks, follow Roger. We'll put his links and stuff in the episode. And most of you already follow Jake, but we'll put his links there too. But thank you, sir. That's very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Yeah.
Vegas Junkeez, there you go.
I like it.
So I was thinking about, how many years we've been doing this.
Okay.
And I don't know the answer. And I was hoping
Every time we talk, it kind of changes.
it keeps changing.
I know,
So like
I know.
we did it. Jake joined a little later than when we first started.
Yes.
I was
Yes,
late
that's
to the
a
party?
fact.
You were maybe 1 year or 2 years off. I don't know. 2010?
How long? When did you guys start the Vegas tradition?
I can tell you that the first one we ever went to, the first Super Bowl that we went to, I came in, we flew in, and I met you guys at the Rio.
We all
And it was-
stayed at the Rio, right?
We all stayed at the Rio, okay?
We
with
went-
Gio.
With Gio and Cohen, Jeff
and
Cohen.
Jeff Cohen. And
We went to
Gio
a
wore
fight.
the Saints. We went to a fight that night, the night
We
the
saw
night before.
that was when Trigg fought at Mandalay Bay. Trigg fought.
Matt Hughes?
I was gonna say Matt Serra. Was it? No, not Matt Hughes.
Okay.
Not that
Okay,
the famous
gotcha,
fight.
yeah.
No. After that, towards the end of Trigg's career, maybe his last fight even, or second to last.
Okay.
I want to say it was Matt Serra or Koscheck. It was one of those two.
Oh,
I just don't remember which one. Both ended first round, sadly, for Trigg.
Yeah.
I'm pro Trigg.
Yeah.
You're pro Trigg.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
whatever year that was. Okay, so that will help. I'm going to look that up right
So
now.
that was the first year.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the year. Now you piece this together.
Okay.
I like it.
And then we actually met the young lady that owned the teacher company that you can wear the
Cheris
shirt.
B from Luke and.
Oh, cheers, yeah.
Yep.
Yes, we met her that night, and I said to her,
I love cheers.
I said, hey, listen, I said, that shirt looks just like my name because it said Silvestro. And we
Right.
started talking, and then she said, John said, turn around. Everybody walking out was wearing that at the
Superstar,
time.
yeah.
Okay. And that was at Mandalay Bay. And then we went with Trigg, and we
Yeah,
went and had
okay.
dinner.
So you're right. So it was Matt Serra because the Koscheck fight was in September, so it couldn't have been super. So he fought Matt Serra February 6th, the first weekend in February, and that's when UFC used to do a Super Bowl show, which they don't do anymore for some reason. Remember, they used to do a Super Bowl weekend. It was always a big weekend here in Vegas.
I fought one time here.
Did
on
you?
Super Bowl, yeah.
Wait.
Carlos Hosha.
No.
Are you in that card?
No, there was a little bit after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would have been funny if you were actually on that
Yeah,
card and I never
no,
knew all these years.
no.
Wow,
I
so
had no
okay.
idea that Luke and Cheris, who I know really
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So, okay, so now you finally pieced together the first year. This is our 10th anniversary then. That was 2010 when Trigg fought Matt Serra. That was 2010.
2010, now it's
we are now
2020.
2020. Now,
Right
Jake came in.
Jake came in when we were at the
Hard
where
Rock?
we were at. No,
No?
we were at the Hard Rock, but no. When I met Jake,
Yeah?
we went to the fight over at the MGM,
Right?
and then Jake walked out and sat with us. Your sister was there,
Oh, wow.
and then Jake said, "Hey, I'm going to come to the Hard Rock," because he wasn't staying there. And in the morning, he said,
I think that Jake was already in before that, though.
well, I might have crossed the dates, but I'm
Yeah, I
telling you,
think
because
you have the
Jake
dates
changed
crossed.
hotels. Because Jake came over to the Hard Rock where we were at, and he said to me, "Hey, man, let's go work out." And I thought, what?
Was Jake fighting that weekend? Do you remember?
No,
Oh, okay then.
no, he didn't fight that.
Oh, so then you might be right. All right.
He did not fight.
Because I was thinking that you were thinking,
And then you were at another hotel, and then you said, "Hey, come on over to the." You said, "Come back to the Hard Rock," and Jake said, "I'll meet you guys over there." And you came over there and hung out with us. And then I was just like, "Oh my God, man!" And I did a picture with him, and Jake was like, "Man, everybody does this picture." And I said, "Get the picture with me, right?"
Was that the same year we had steak at the Hard Rock, or?
You moved
Were you
over
not
to the
in
Hard
this?
Rock.
I don't know.
I think I just pieced together. I think your first year was 2013.
I think so. I was going to say, I think it's 7 or 8.
3 years later. So,
7 or
yeah, so
8.
13 counts. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This is your 8th. That makes sense. And this is our 10th. Wow. All right.
I
I'm
was
glad
gonna
we
say
pieced
7
that together.
Or 8, so.
And then, oddly
Yeah,
enough, now this is the 3-year anniversary of meeting the Pint-Sized Warrior. I
This
met
is
the
3 years.
Pint-Sized Warrior 3
Yes,
years
yes,
ago
yes.
this weekend at
Yes.
Hard Rock. Wow. That's 3 years ago.
That was a good meal, too.
Okay, so now I've got some quiz questions. So now that was the big quiz question. I'm
Okay.
going to start with you, Jake.
Let's go.
3 years ago this weekend, we were playing blackjack. Before Roger arrived in town, just me and you, at the Hard Rock. And you had I won't say the dollar amount, but you had a rather large wager on a hand of blackjack, which you're no stranger to,
Perhaps.
perhaps. You were at 14. I was at third base.
7 of Hearts.
That was my question, is
Was
what
it?
card was it that you needed? And you got
7
it,
of Hearts.
7 of Hearts.
You called the suit.
I called the suit.
I couldn't forget, because, I mean, obviously 7's the number to make 21, but you called the suit, which made it made it that much more wild. It was like,
Right.
7 of Hearts, and for me, for people who don't know the story, I'm sitting here kind of, the wheels are turning, I'm debating what I'm going to do. And again, your bet size should never affect what you're going to do.
Right.
It should be like,
Right, right.
But you don't want to bust
You're going
if
to stay
you don't
at
need
14.
to. Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
But you kept saying, just take the 7 of Hearts. Take the 7 of Hearts. Take it. And I don't know how many times.
It was a good.
And I was
because it was
already
just me and
leaning.
you. So it was. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
say it was like a good 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's literally.
Yeah,
'cause
he was like, take your time.
Right.
What's it, like 3 in the
You guys are
morning?
Yeah.
agonizing that long about
Yeah,
this
yeah.
before we got there.
Yeah.
And they
Sad.
Before you got there, because it's just me and him at the table, so
Yeah.
it's not. We're not holding up the game only for ourselves, you know.
Not that if we were,
smokes.
it would
Yeah.
matter. But yeah. it
And
was
I'm
one
literally
of
like, Jake, it's the 7 of Hearts. Are you man enough to take the 7 of Hearts? We just had a camera bump, but it's okay. It's okay, Beth. Just knock shit over. It's all right. We still look good, Ty? Do we still look good? All right, yeah. So I'm telling Jake, just take the 7 of Hearts. Are you man enough to take the 7 of Hearts? Boom, 7 of Hearts.
7 of Hearts.
And hits the
I
7 of
can't.
Hearts.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have
can't
a.
forget that
Before I
story.
walked in. So,
Yeah. So now I got a question for you.
Okay. Let me take a deep breath on this one because I
The
want to get it
following night. The following night.
right. Okay, this is 3 years ago.
3 years ago this
Okay.
weekend.
Okay.
We are at a roulette wheel. Jake and I are at the roulette wheel.
Okay.
You were either playing roulette or just right behind me watching us play roulette. I don't remember if you were actually playing or not.
Wasn't.
And I'm literally at Jake's roulette wheel, and I go, oh shit, I'll be right back. And I took a $100 chip off of my stack.
I remember this.
I
That's a fact.
sprinted to the roulette wheel directly behind me, and I said
we're 10 feet
100
away.
on this number. While the ball was spinning, I go 100 on this number, and it hit that number. What was that number, Roger Silvestro?
35.
I thought it was a 37.
35 over here going once, but no, that is a good number. I do like 35.
I think it was a 37.
I'm gonna
No,
guess.
there's only 36 on the wheel.
Oh, there's only 36 on the wheel.
You're close.
Yeah.
You're close.
Was it? Because the 35 did come to mind. Because I remember you turned around. It was actually after we already had walked out of the Super Bowl party.
Right.
And you played the one, he was there, and then you spun around and said, oh my gosh, I got this number, and you ran to the other one.
Correct.
And I'm thinking, what is going on?
Right, and I came back with a bunch of chips because it hit.
March.
It's one
Came
of
back
two
with
numbers.
3,500.
It's one of two numbers I know.
You know?
I know one. It's
Man,
one of the two
I-
numbers in my head. I'm leaning towards the number, but I'll.
If you tap out, it's okay. You can. This is like you can tap out.
Boy, like the socks that I bought up north. I got a tap-out pair of socks.
Okay, you're tapping out. Jake,
I'm gonna go with. It's one of two numbers. I'll say them both. It's either 11 or
you
17.
got it. You got it. 11. 11.
Man, oh man,
Because
that was amazing.
What blew my like we're at this table, we're playing right, and he turns around and goes to the table behind us, and it's like okay, well, like you think he's gonna do black or red or odd or even, one number, and it hits,
And it
turn
hit
around, and
while
it's
the ball was spinning.
35 foot, yeah. That's what I was like.
That
Literally,
was
I
amazing.
was literally gone all of a minute.
That doesn't happen. This happens to John Orlando.
If you saw it in a movie, you'd walk out.
Yeah.
You'd be like, stop.
Yes.
Oh, he just goes, he throws 100 on 11, it hits. Like, come
I
on.
couldn't even believe it myself.
Here's the bad news. Haven't won since.
Really? On roulette?
No, I'm kidding. I'm
Oh,
kidding.
okay.
A little bit, maybe. Yeah.
So you hit a few. You hit a few.
That was a crazy weekend.
Yeah.
That was a crazy weekend. Like we were, if you remember,
You were
we
up
were
and down the roller coaster early on.
up and down. Yeah, if you remember, I had won a bunch of money. I won't say the dollar amount, but I had won a bunch of money.
Okay.
And we went to watch the Super Bowl. We were in that nice, like the Hard Rock VIP party.
Yep.
Remember?
Yes.
And right before the game started, we sat down, all of us, and Nick Tano and Ed, who's coming in, Eddie.
Yes.
We were all playing blackjack, and we sat down, and I made an announcement. You know, I like my announcements. I said, I'm only going to play social blackjack. Do you remember that? I go, social blackjack, not going to get hurt, you know, 25 bucks a hand, whatever. By the end of the first quarter,
It was not social.
money gone. All the money gone.
Right into the half.
I had to go upstairs to the secret stash, came back, all that money gone, got down to like my last 500. I remember this. I had
Yes.
500. I bet, and I get an 11. No, it might have been 1,000.
Yep.
It was 1,000.
It was 1,000.
I bet 1,000.
At this time, I'm wrenching. I'm
Right.
wrenching.
I get an 11, and I look at Jake and I go, I need the double down. I need your double. I need 1,000. Jake gives me a yellow chip. He gives me the 1,000, right?
Yep.
And I remember I made another round. I go, Jake, if I win this hand, I'm going to come roaring back, and I'm going to get it all back and then some. And that's exactly what happened. You remember that?
Yes, I do. I do.
Roaring wouldn't even be the word. I don't even know if that was a word. I'd never seen anything like it. It was just like, whoa, man, it was one after another, after
Yeah.
another, after another.
It was
after
crazy,
another,
right?
After another, and it was just a mad focus, and it was just hand after hand.
Right.
Then, when we walked out of it, then that's when that happened with the roulette.
Roulette,
I'm going,
right,
What is
right.
going on here?
Yeah, you remember. That's
I
good.
remembered exactly when we walked
Yeah.
out the door. I thought, okay, what's happening here? And the other, there's a couple more people there too.
Lacey K. Summers and Chad McBain joined us that trip as well. Or was that the following year?
That was the following year.
No, it can't be.
This was the she was just on, the real nice girl that does all the media, and then the other two girls were
Tracy Lee.
there. Tracy Lee was
Tracy
there.
Lee we ran into.
Tracy Lee. And
Oh, then wait. Okay, so then
That was the
Seven
year.
of Hearts was 2 years ago, not 3.
No, that was longer.
That was
Than
longer.
2, yeah.
Then it was 3.
I get a
'cause-
point or two for this one, I think.
Wait,
because-
no, I disagree. Lacey K had to be there because here's
No.
why. Here's why. Because they were there when I met Vanessa.
Yep.
They
We
were at dinner.
Yep.
They were
Isn't
at
it
dinner
weird that you
night.
can't remember year to year?
They were at dinner that night.
They were
Wait,
at dinner.
Wait a minute, though.
But maybe they weren't at roulette with us. Maybe that's what it is.
No, they were not. 'cause
They weren't. They didn't
don't
watch Super
gamble.
Bowl with us. They went somewhere else.
No, they did. And not only that, yeah, we met them later on that night for dinner. But earlier,
We had dinner the night before Super Bowl.
yes,
But where were they Super Bowl Sunday? They weren't with us.
they went somewhere else. So we were at
Okay.
the long table inside of the place. We all went back there, and Tracy Lee, and then the one girl from Detroit, I can't remember her
Right.
name right now. She was there, and the other girl, really nice girl.
Yeah.
And we all had dinner and talked.
Yeah,
I think we're mixing two different Hard Rock Super Bowls because
we might be.
there's one
Drunk
where
Nicole joined us.
Nicole, there you go.
I remember the one where we all were sitting on the side table with Chad Lacey,
Right.
But it wasn't the same one as the betting one when you were firing off bets.
You're
Those were
right,
two
you're
different-
right, you're right, you're
because
right,
I
you're
remember
right.
you were down. We won't say numbers. You were down a lot of
Yes.
a substantial amount of money,
Yes.
and the thousand, the double down.
Right.
I remember that story. It was just a different. It was a different year with Chad and
Got
Lacey.
it. It's crazy how you don't remember. Okay, last trivia question I have. This is the tough one. And by the way, I did not know the answer. I still don't really know the answer to this, but I think it's a cool question for
Okay.
Super Bowl. Because it just shows it shocks me on how big an event Super Bowl is every year for everyone, right? And how festive it is, and it means so much to so many people. But my question to you is, over the 10 years, or just let's go back 8 years for you, whatever, can you name 4 teams that played in the Super Bowl out of the last 8 years? 4
Yes.
different teams.
Yes.
You can?
Yes.
Okay, Jake
The
Ellenberger.
the Rams, the Saints, the Patriots, and the Titans.
Okay. There are still plenty of teams he has not mentioned.
So last year,
Oh, you're going to go that route?
I'll take that route.
Really?
Yes, I'm going to take that
Okay,
route.
who played last year?
So last year we went and we watched the GOAT, right? So that would have been the Patriots.
Yep.
And
Who did they play?
they played Seattle.
No.
No. Son of a pop.
Do you know who they played last year?
Sure.
We were with the dentist.
Jake was with us too last year.
He was with us. Oh, yeah,
We
I
were
know
Green
he was,
Valley.
100%.
Right.
Oh yeah, we worked in Valley. Yeah.
Yeah. Who did the Patriots play last year? People listening to this right now are like, these guys are idiots. How do you not know?
No,
But you
because
can't remember.
You don't remember.
It's weird that you
They're all
don't
coming
remember.
here to get-
I know.
Come on, Jake. You should know this one.
Was it? No, because
And it was a boring game. Do you remember it was like 3-0 at
Yeah.
the half, maybe, or after the first quarter, 3-0 or something? It was like so boring.
I remember the big bet or the bunch of bets came on Atlanta. The Falcons played
That was
like a year or two before, right?
That was 2 years before last. Patriots and Falcons. And that was when Falcons were up at halftime. Banker George calls me at halftime. We were at the Hard Rock. He's like, should I hedge? My buddy calls me. He's like, should I hedge the
And
bet?
John is
Because he had
laughing.
Atlanta.
He's like, yeah.
I'm laughing. I literally remember I said to him, I said, it was like 24-3, I think, was the score at halftime, Atlanta over the Patriots. My buddy calls and says, should I bet on New England to come back? And I'm like, what game are you watching? I said, do not hedge the bet. If you hedge the bet, delete me from your phone. I don't want to know you anymore. and Brady came. He listened to me. He didn't hedge, and Brady came back and won.
Nice. The advice is always good here in Vegas.
So who
That's
did
the
they play
story.
last year?
The Patriots.
Jake Ellenberger, deep in thought.
The Saints.
Nope. The Rams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boring game.
Boring game.
Before that, the Patriots played the Eagles. Before that, the Patriots played the Falcons. And then before that, we watched at Cosmo. You skipped a year.
At Cosmo.
Yes.
Okay, I did skip a year.
You skipped a year. You skipped, you bastard, 2016. You got sick or the kids were sick? Someone was sick. Kids were
Kids
sick.
got sick.
The kids got sick. You couldn't make it last minute.
Yes,
last
last
minute you had to opt out.
Yes,
That's right.
we opted out.
We watched a Cosmo.
I remember that.
Can you tell me who was in that Super Bowl? This is 2016. This is only 4 years ago, Jake. 4 years ago. Can you tell me? The hint I'll give you is that one of the teams is Jeff Cohen's favorite team.
Broncos.
Okay, who did the Broncos play? Jeff Cohen's gonna be so happy that you knew that he is a Bronco fan at the end of the day. Do you remember?
And we go back and forth because I'm a Chiefs guy. He's a
Right,
Broncos
right.
guy. They're, you know.
Do you remember who they played?
Right.
I didn't know this, by the way. Completely forgot this team was even in the league, let alone in the Super
Really?
Bowl. Yeah.
They didn't play the Lions, I know that.
No, they didn't play the Lions.
So we got a process of elimination. There wasn't the Lions.
The Lions?
It is a cat.
The Panthers?
The Panthers. Yep. Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
I forgot they're even a team.
That would have been
The quarterback, he got in a car accident. Cam Newton,
Cam
right?
Newton.
Yeah. Is he still even in the league? I
Yeah.
don't even, he is?
Yeah.
For Carolina?
I believe so.
Wow.
I know the kids were all doing. What does he do?
Does he
does-
do that?
he does
That's Usain Bolt does that.
No, he does like that,
Right?
right?
Something like that.
Does
yeah.
he?
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
And all the kids
see, I
were
don't
doing
even
the
know.
dances and stuff. Yeah, oh yeah.
That's wild. Crazy. We've had some good times.
Really good times.
Right?
Really good times. Unbelievable times.
I
actually.
love that I never would have thought Jake would be the one that really drives this every year. I mean, you do too. You start early. You start a countdown like in August.
Yes, our countdowns. Yeah, well, it's actually as soon as we leave here. Actually.
Yeah, you start for
start
the
the
next
countdown.
year. But Jake is not screwing around with this. Jake is like, it's tradition. What'd you
love
say
it.
to me the other night? You're like, I don't have many traditions.
Yes. I know. I don't even remember. I was like, I don't have many traditions, but so like every March, I'm like, well, you know what next February is? Super Bowl.
Right.
We're gonna be in Vegas. Like when we were in California, I'm gonna be in Vegas. So we got.
It's really easy for us now because we live here.
Oh yeah. No, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah. When are you moving? When's the Pope of Detroit coming to Vegas to restore
Why would the
order?
mayor-
That is the truth. We are restoring order here in Las Vegas.
Right?
That's my son's asked me before we came here. Are we going to move? Are you guys going to thinking about going to Las Vegas? What's going on? You know what's happening? Because I'm doing a lot of work around the house and getting things tidied up.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. We like it.
Could you ever do it or no? You've got so much family at
The
home.
family is everything to us.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got my dad at the drop of a dime. My mom, her dad. We've got everybody.
Right.
Right. So, and they support us, and they take. And our kids are running wild. I mean,
Right.
like when I talk to you,
Right.
you know, are they at archery? Are they at baseball? Not baseball, but basketball. Are
Right.
they at soccer? Or where are they going now? You
It's
know?
crazy. When we first started this, you had no kids, right? Or am I wrong?
So
The very first year?
the very first year,
2010?
2010, Christian was actually he was not here yet. He was on the way.
Right.
March 31st, just after.
Right. You left
So
a
I had-
pregnant
that's-
wife at home,
Right.
9 months pregnant, to come here the first time.
And then
Tanya just gave me a thumbs up.
where's she actually back over?
She's actually packing now.
that
She's
was
like,
she's
now I
leaving.
just reminded her. She's like, you know what? Fuck him. I'm out. Yeah.
That was our
That's a great
our
woman.
youngest
That's a
son
great
right
wife,
now,
yeah.
right? Okay, so we had Benjamin already,
Right.
And we had Roger already. So Roger was 2005, then Benjamin was I can't forget this on. I just
Right.
whatever. Yeah. So man, so I already had the two. Then you're right. But I think there's more confusion too because I came in before that, and it wasn't a Super Bowl. And that's what in my mind too. So I came in before that.
Right, for a meeting.
For a meeting.
Right. And we
Right?
drove. That's actually a funny story.
And-
we were in LA.
Yes.
You had a meeting with Jeff Cohen.
Yes.
And someone else. And then after your meeting, we were like kind of celebrating that you guys had a good meeting. And I was like, let's jump in the car and drive to Vegas at like midnight or something, right?
Oh,
Do I have this right? I don't even know.
It wasn't even midnight. But it was
Okay.
midnight when we left. What had happened is, he was making
We were
some
at dinner.
chicken parm, and we got back, and we were all just sitting there talking this and that. And he said, "Hey, what do you think about going to Las Vegas?" And I'm thinking that'd be fun, you know. And he's going, "Okay, well, we'll go in a couple of hours and we'll get out of here." And I'm like, "Well, I'm leaving. I'm flying home, man. I'm going home." He goes, "Well, no, we'll just drive there. We'll change the ticket." And actually, it was. Palin's daughter was on Dancing
Bristol
with the Stars
Palin.
because her truck was parked in the garage.
Yep.
And you're like, "There's Bristol's truck."
Right.
That's
Oh,
where
right.
you lived. And I'm walking through.
Wow, you have a
going,
good
"What?"
memory.
And it was Bristol's truck, and then everybody was there at that place.
Yep.
And then I called Tanya, and she's like, not real happy about that.
Right.
And I'm going, "Hey, what do you want to go?"
Because your
So
wife,
then-
when you're miles away and you're already in LA, the last thing she ever wants to hear, any
Is you're going to
girl,
Las Vegas.
is, "Hey, I'm going to Vegas with the guys on a whim."
on a whim.
Doesn't go over well,
So then we're driving in the dark through the mountains,
which
that was it.
you also hate.
which I can't stand. I don't like the mountains. But It was so dark, I really couldn't see anything.
Yeah, he doesn't like if
What's
he-
it about the mountains?
So go tell him.
I don't like the mountains at all. So, in the short, I guess. So I was driving back through. I don't like to tell this because what happens is now you'll know the secret of getting information.
Yeah,
out of
it's
me.
your
You take me to the
kryptonite.
mountains,
Right.
That's kryptonite.
Right.
They can get all the info out of me. So I basically was driving through the mountains. I was leaving Georgia, and I was coming into Tennessee or whatever, and I thought, oh my God, I didn't like what I was seeing or whatever, so I just pulled off the road, and then what had happened is I walked into this little restaurant, and I asked the cops, I says, hey, can you guys do me a favor? Can you drive the van either out of here or either way? And they go, no, we can get a transportation
Shuttle.
company to come and get you. And I said, well, that isn't going to work because I'm not going to leave the van here, right? So Tanya and her mom say, well, we'll come and get you. And I said, no, because I was thinking I don't want them in an accident to drive from Detroit to get me.
Yeah.
And then who you guys are going to meet in a little bit is Sal. And Sal gets on the phone with me and he's going back and forth and he's going, what? And I said, I'm going to fly you into Atlanta. They're going to shuttle you to me and then drive me out of these mountains.
But make sure that people understand, this wasn't the mountains where the roads weren't closed. It wasn't necessarily snowy. You just don't want to drive in the mountains.
I don't want to be in the mountains.
The road conditions were fine.
The road conditions were fine. I was coming down. You could see the blinking lights. There were blinking lights down below. And yeah.
You realize how crazy this sounds? You're talking to a guy that gets into a cage, locks the door with someone that's trying to take his head off, and he's like, you don't want to drive through the mountains.
Right.
I'm just more curious.
So Sal came and got me. So he flew in, and then
Right.
So then they even said to the guy, they said,
You even tried to get the cops to drive you out.
they're right, they wouldn't. And then the guy that owned the transportation company goes, okay, I'll get him right to you. And what had happened is he goes, well, we're going to be at the next exit in the morning. I
Right.
said, no, I'm not driving anywhere. That has got to come right to where I'm at. And the shuttle bus came. Sal got out and goes, what's going on? I go, get me out of here, man. And I got in my seat.
Yeah.
And he was my best man at my wedding, and I told the story because what kind of a friend would do that? And that's
Right,
a best
right,
man,
for
you know.
sure.
Right.
And my other guy Ed would have
Yep.
done the same.
Yeah, of course he
right?
would.
In a minute. And John told me that he wouldn't. He'd say, "Get in that van."
Yeah,
and go.
I told him it last night. We were talking about this last night. We were having dessert, and I was like, dude, just so you know, I wouldn't have come to get you. I'm not driving you out of that mountain. I tell you, drive through the mountain, or I don't know what to tell you, man. Roll down the hill. I don't know what to tell you.
I didn't know if there was the hills have eyes kind of moment.
Yeah,
or story.
right.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Oh my
So
God.
that's it. So then, no mountains for me.
No mountains.
But I didn't mind driving with you over there to
Right.
where you guys live, or
Right.
Cohen took me through what was that called there?
Like Malibu Canyon.
Malibu Canyon.
And that's great. Like, I get Malibu Canyon. Like, Malibu Canyon, if you're not used to Malibu Canyon, that's a little dicey. Like, I get.
Yeah.
And depending on who's driving, like, I get it.
Have you
know.
guys ever driven in Detroit?
I
so-
have
so-
not in years.
So our highways are cut in, right? So Sal calls it the ditch, like 696, right? So you don't see anything. You just, everybody goes like mad.
Right.
Like 85, 90 is very common. And if you're
It's my kind of streets.
in the
yeah.
fast lane, you're doing 85, 90 and people are pulling up behind you. But you don't see anything, so you're just going.
Right.
It's like a ditch. But there, on the flip side, on the mountain, you're on top and you can see everything. And I just don't like that visual.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. You don't have any fears like that. Do you have any fears? Obviously not.
No, I mean, no. I've had. It's funny. I've had I've done security for artists who have fears they can't ride elevators.
Really?
Yeah, and it's which creates a challenge.
So,
when you're-
meaning if their hotel room is in the penthouse, like they might be.
stairwell.
Come on.
Yep.
Come on.
No, seriously. And there's plenty of people that can't fly.
That I get.
Yeah. But yeah, I believe I had people where they can't do elevators, they can't fly, and they can't do elevators. So it's all right, well,
That must be tough.
you got to let her know ahead of time. Well, we have options, but it's not convenient.
So you literally have gone all the way up from one of the top floors down to the bottom
walk
with the
through
talent.
stairwells, yeah.
And they're just used to it, and it's just their exercise or
Hey,
whatever.
listen,
they don't
if you're
sweat
okay
it.
with it, I'm okay with it, but it's going to take a while.
Wow.
So
John Madden was like that, right? He would only. That's why he ended up quitting being a commentator. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he had a fear of flying. He took a bus, he had one of those nice decked out buses,
Yep.
and he would just drive to wherever the games were or whatever. And I guess the travel just ultimately was just too much or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was talking to a buddy of mine last night who did a couple of combat tours, But they have what's called combat landings and combat takeoffs in a combat zone, and it's if you don't. Even if you're expecting it, they're pretty frightening. So like my brother Adam did one when he went to Iraq, and it'll mess you up because you're landing really, really fast. And so like even my brother had trouble flying for like years, couldn't fly. Like I had to have fights, and he couldn't come because he was having trouble flying. But I had a buddy. Yeah, I was talking to my buddy last night about it for a while because he had the same thing where he had to go through like kind of gradually get back into commercial flying. But military flying is way different than commercial flying, so you're going to experience things that are not, that are crazy. That could definitely be traumatic. But,
Right.
Yeah.
So this weekend is the final weekend of the Hard Rock Hotel. It closes the day after the Super Bowl.
Wow.
We certainly need to go over there at some point and either have a meal or play a couple of hands of blackjack before this weekend is over, just for old time's sake, right? Because that was kind of a staple for us.
Yes.
Yes. When I say the Hard Rock to you, is there a memory that comes to mind? No, I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking. Like you're laughing already. Like what's your do you have a favorite Hard Rock memory from all these years, from all the trips that we've had? Like what sticks out in your head?
It's tough to say that.
Because I know there's been so many.
So many. There really is. There's that many favorite instances, really.
Right.
I would say that the best thing out of the whole situation going to the Hard Rock is actually coming across Vanessa. I think
really?
I think that she is. She's a cool person, and I think that it kind of stopped the whole.
The whole
scenario.
That was a funny night, right?
And it was like, wait a minute, what's John doing? And John's over there just like.
Do you remember when we sat down? She sat us.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I said? Because remember I had met her like the night before because when I made the reservation. I saw her at the host stand, and that's why we ended up eating there because I was on my way to the gym, and I saw her. But actually, they were closed. They weren't even open yet. Like for work that night, it was like 4:30 in the afternoon, and they opened I think at 5. And so I saw her like at the stand right outside the restaurant, and then she like went inside. So I went to the host stand, and she basically came out to tell me, "Sorry, we're not open yet," but I insisted on making a dinner reservation. And then I asked her when I made the dinner reservation, I was like, "Are you working tomorrow?" And she said yes, because I was like, well, if she would have said no, I would have canceled the dinner reservation because that place wasn't cheap, Yeah. So yeah, when we went in the next night, when she sat us, do you remember what I said?
You said you're going to marry her.
I did.
That's exactly what you said. Now I was thinking, okay, this is something else.
Right.
So what's going on?
Right.
Wow.
Because I don't talk like that.
No, it never has.
Right.
And that kind of. So I would say that was like a great moment. Mm-hmm. Can I give a couple more?
Sure. Go.
The other moment was when we were standing there and Lacey K, which I didn't know.
Yep.
And she was there with Chad, and they're off in the corner. And I said, hey, are you Lacey K? And obviously she gets that all the time.
Yeah.
And she had turned around, and she's like, oh, yeah, whatever. I said, well, we're hanging out tonight. And she's like looking at me like, what? And I go, I'm Rogers from Detroit. I said, well, I'm with John Orlando. And she's going, oh, okay. I go, is that your boyfriend? And she was like, not saying anything.
Right.
And I thought that was kind of an odd moment for her because,
Right.
Right. And then later on with Jake, okay, so they're already in the celebrity thing. People are like, hey, can I get a picture or what have you?
Yep.
So we were there, and the one guy goes, oh my God, it's Lacey K. And he goes to Jake, can you take my picture? And Jake was standing there, and he goes, oh my God, it's Jake Ellenberger. So the guy's like stuck between the both, and Jake said, no, I'll take the picture. He's like, oh, are you sure? And he gets a picture of Lacey, and he goes, come back, well, can I get one with Jake? And I'm going, just give me the camera, man. And it was cool to see that these guys are normal people.
Right.
That's what Jake, and that's what I like a lot about Jake.
Right.
Right? Because he is down to earth as can be.
And how about when some of the guys thought that he was just her security?
That's funny, yeah.
Actually, you were doing executive production back then even.
Yeah.
Without anyone knowing.
Didn't even know it.
Yeah.
No.
What about you? Do you have I know there's been so many, but is there one thing that sticks out?
We've had some fun times there.
Yeah.
Obviously the blackjack story.
The blackjack, the 7 of Hearts was gold.
You can't forget that one.
Or do you have any Hard Rock stories from before the trip even? Before our Super Bowl thing? Like, did you ever, was that a place you went to a lot back in the day?
Really, no.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah, not really. I mean, when Rehab was there a couple times, but...
So I have a crazy story. Before we get out of here, I have a crazy story that I don't know if you've ever heard. You may have heard it. I don't believe you've ever heard this story. So the Hard Rock opened in '95.
Okay.
I was there that summer, fall, at the Hard Rock. So my birthday's September 8th. September 7th of 96, whatever. It's foggy, Jake. It's foggy. The year Tupac died. 96. Okay. So that night, right, that was September 7th, so the night before my birthday, and then when the clock struck midnight, I was now 26, right? There was a Mike Tyson fight that night.
That's right.
Okay? After the Mike Tyson fight is when Tupac and Suge Knight were driving down Tropicana or Flamingo, right? Okay. And that's when they got shot up. Suge lived. Tupac ended up dying at the hospital hours later or whatever on that same night. Now, on that night, I had Larry the Legend, Barry Levine from San Diego, who you've met, a couple of my guys from like Little League and high school baseball in town. Gio was here for my birthday. And I had called Mike Tyson. The number I had for him was like an office number at the time because I wanted to get tickets to the fight. Just took a shot, like for my birthday. And I never heard back from Mike, and no one called me. They were like, "Yeah, we'll check, we'll get back to you," and then nobody got back to me. So which is expected, when you're calling the day of the fight, like an idiot, playing the Tony O card, didn't work out. So I hadn't perfected the Tony O card yet.
Gotcha.
Now I haven't perfected,
It's down now.
Right. So anyway, we went to the when we had checked in, I had the casino host at the time gave me, because I told him I was there for my birthday, whatever, he gave me passes to the strip club right across the street from the Hard Rock, which at the time was called Club Paradise, okay? So most of us went over to the strip club, like after dinner, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it was. We're in the strip club, and I'm with Gio and Larry the Legend.
Okay.
I don't know where the others were, like Barry Levine, my buddy Matt Slavin. I think they were gambling. Me, Gio, and Larry the Legend went to the strip club. Literally right across the street from the Hard Rock. The Hard Rock was so new, the parking lot wasn't finished. There was a chain link fence and dirt where the parking lot is. Well, now it's not even a parking lot because they've changed the configuration around, but at the time, that's where the parking lot was, but it wasn't even there yet. It was just a dirt. It was that new, that brand new, just a chain link fence literally around the property on Paradise, if you can picture that, okay?
Yeah.
I go to the bathroom at the strip club. When I come back from the bathroom, I'm walking past this stripper who is like talking to some guys, and I hear as I'm like moments after I pass, I hear her yelling, "That's him, that's the one." So I stop, I'm like, we all like to see the drama when it unfolds, So I stop and I look, and because I want to see, like this girl is mad. Who is she? Like, who's the one? Like, who's she pissed at, right?
Uh-oh.
And she's pointing in my direction. Have I told you this story ever? Have you ever heard
Not
it?
this part.
Okay. So she's pointing in my direction, and she's like, that's him, that's the one. She's talking to this big bouncer who, at the time, if you were a baseball fan, he looked just like Jay Buhner. There was a baseball player named Jay Buhner that played for the Seattle Mariners, bald with a goatee, played right field with the Mariners. This guy looked just like Jay Buhner, like 6 foot whatever, and just jacked, I still don't get it. I'm looking behind me like, who is she? God, I'm so stupid. I'm thinking like, oh my God, I have a front row seat to whatever drama is about to unfold, So I'm looking, and the last thing I remember, never good for that to be a sentence of yours, right? The last thing I remember was this guy coming at me, Jay Buhner guy, coming at me, and he goes, "What did you do?" I remember seeing that. That is the last thing I remember.
Oh, no.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, cut to, I'm outside the strip club. Yeah, I'm outside. True story, I swear to you. I'm outside the strip club, and there's a crowd of people around me, and I'm so disoriented. This is why I feel for what you guys do. I have this crowd of people around me, and I remember the guy saying, "Are you okay?" And I remember saying, yeah. And I remember actually saying, I just needed some air. I remember saying that, like odd, like I was in a movie, I just need to get some air, you know? And the guy said, do you need a taxi? Where are you staying? And I remember pointing to the Hard Rock. It's literally right across the street from the Hard Rock, okay? So I said, no, I'm okay, I'm there. So now the next thing I remember is, I remember you couldn't, like now, if this was today, you could literally just walk across the street and into the Hard Rock. But at the time, that chain link fence was there. So I don't remember doing this. The next thing I remember, I'm at the front desk of the Hard Rock. So that means I crossed the street. There's no crosswalk right there either. So like I crossed the street and like hugged the fence line and somehow found my way back into the Hard Rock, and I went to the front desk. That's the next thing I remember. So now I'm at the front desk, and it's crazy, right? I'm at the front desk, and I remember the girl came that worked behind the front desk, and it's the same girl that checked me in like a couple days prior. Her name was Lindsay Glassford, who sadly we lost to brain cancer about 12, 15 years ago. But anyway, Lindsay was there, and I remember saying to her, I went and I said, I need a key to my room. And she goes, okay, what's your name? And I remember saying, I don't know. And she goes, looks at me and she goes, are you okay? Do you have your ID? And she goes, what's wrong? And I remember saying to her, I said, am I bleeding? And she says, no, because I could feel the inside of my lip was like cut up, you know? Yeah. And she's like, what happened? And I said, I got hit. And she goes, someone hit you here? And I remember turning around and looking like at from the front desk, looking at like the casino floor, and I was like trying to I'm like out of it. Like I'm just trying to figure out what the hell just happened. And just as I was doing that, a random guy that we met at the pool earlier, and his name was Gil. I still remember his name, don't remember his last name. This guy Gil, who we had met at the pool, who oddly enough was in the room right next door to us, because we were all sharing a room, like all 6 of my buddies, you know, like sleeping on a rollaway bed on the floor, whatever it is, we were broke, you know. And so he comes up and he goes, I got him, he's just drunk, he's okay, I'll get him up to his room. So I don't remember going from the front desk to the elevator up to the room. Next thing I remember is we're knocking on my door. Matt Slavin opens the door, and this guy Gil goes, yeah, your buddy's just had too much to drink. Matt goes, he doesn't drink, you know? And Matt looks at me and is like, what happened? And I go, I think I got into a fight with Jay Buhner. Matt goes, Jay Buhner's at the strip club? And I'm like, no, he just looked like Jay Buhner. I'm like, my head is thumping. So I sit down on the bed. Now I guess I freaked Lindsay, the front desk lady, out so bad, she called the paramedics. So now there's a knock at the door, and it's the paramedics. Also by now, Gio and Larry the Legend realize like I'm gone for an obnoxious amount of time. They ended up bailing out. They leave the strip club. They come. They can't believe I'm there. And like there's paramedics. Like everyone's like, what is going on? And so the paramedic is like, what year is it? And I think I got that wrong. He was like, who's the president? I think it was Clinton back then. In 96, was it Clinton? I think I got it right. And then he goes, I want you to remember what I'm going to ask you. He goes, it's funny, I remember it now, but I fucked it up then. He goes, I want you to go to the store and get me a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, and a dozen eggs. And then he asked me a couple more questions, and then he goes, what did I tell you to get from the store? And I was like, a carton of loaf, a dozen milks, like it was one of those, you know? And he's like, yeah, you've got a concussion, my friend. And he's like, you can't fly out. He goes, when are you leaving here? And I said, 7 a.m. He goes, you need to stay a little longer. Don't take a flight yet. So Gio stayed with me, and my head was lumpy, and I was sore over here, like
you were bleeding. You said
I was. Inside of my lip was a little cut up.
Okay.
I guess maybe like I bit down or something. So now I get home, and I remember that weekend I had promised my mom I wouldn't go to Vegas for my birthday because she always thought Vegas was trouble, which it is, especially for me. So she was right. I should have listened, you know. And so, yeah. So, what I told you that Lindsay said at the front desk, I didn't necessarily remember. I called the front desk, and I said, hey, can I talk to whoever's on the front desk last night? So they were like, oh, that was Lindsay. So I get Lindsay and I'm like, hi, it's John Orlando. Like, what happened? So she told me the whole story that I just told you of what took place at the front desk. So I'm like, man, this is so weird. Like, I'm black and blue on my side. I got lumps on my head. So I call the strip club. And I said, can I talk to the manager that was on last night? So they put me on hold. Guy comes to the phone. I'm wrapping up, Ty, I promise. Guy comes to the phone, and I think I got beat up at your strip club last night, and I just don't know why. He goes, oh, you're the guy. Hold on one second. So he puts me on hold. Another guy gets on the phone. He says, yeah, well, you grabbed that girl's crotch. And I go, no chance. Like, not me. He goes, no, like, it's okay, buddy. You know, it's Vegas. People have too much to drink. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I don't drink. I'm like, now you guys have seen me. Like, I'll have like a social shot or something with you guys. But like, back then, not a drop. Had never even had a sip of anything. Nothing. Maybe a sip of beer, but like hated the taste. So I never drank. So I'm like, dude, it's not my style. Like, there's no way. And there's no way I grabbed some girl's crotch. Like, impossible. Then it clicked. I remembered when I was coming back from the bathroom, there was a guy in front of me. He must have, I didn't see him do it. He must have grabbed that girl like from underneath or like the side. He must have grabbed that girl. And it was one of those things where like, I was walking right behind him and we passed and it's just like a stripper and I'm 26. So I turned back to just look at the stripper, right? When I look, it looked like like I was guilty, like I had did it. So she fingered me for it. And the guy goes, I said, well, what happened? He said, well, by the time I got up to the front, he said, you were on the ground and one of the guy, my bouncer had knocked you down and some random guy was kicking you in the head and in the side. He claimed it wasn't a bouncer, but I think it was. So I think, now you're the fighter, so you tell me, if I don't remember, does it mean I got hit first from behind? Or could I have, like, I felt like there was like distance, like the distance from Ty behind the camera right now to here. I remember going like this and backpedaling going, I didn't do anything, I swear. That's the last thing I remember. Yeah. Could he possibly have gotten close enough to me and threw a punch that I just didn't see?
Possibly, yeah. Or if someone hit you from behind.
Or someone hit me.
It's hard to say.
Right.
Yeah, but
so this is the same night all the shooting takes place?
All of that, and that's the same night Tupac got shot. Same night. Is that crazy? So that is my, not a fond memory of the Hard Rock, but that's definitely one of the things that comes to mind.
But your buddies Larry, they didn't obviously see this take place.
No, they were in lap dance heaven, and I was coming back from the bathroom.
Is there surveillance at this time?
So there was, and I probably could have sued the hell out of but at the time I was so afraid to tell, if I did all that, I would have had to tell Mom that I was in Las Vegas for my birthday. Man. Crazy, right?
That is lawsuit central right there.
Lawsuit central.
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
Especially if you have surveillance.
And so here's the funny thing. I won't mention his name, but there's a guy that I have told people when they go to the Spearmint Rhino, hey, if you go to the Rhino, ask for this guy, and he will hook you up. That is the guy that was the manager at the Club Paradise back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Chris,
Yeah.
Does he remember the story then?
100%. Yeah.
John
All right. Final thoughts before we get out of here. What do you have? Final thoughts. Do you have any final thought?
Final thought.
Yeah.
One other time was a really great time.
Yeah.
When we went, well, it actually wasn't even at the Hard Rock though.
Okay.
But meeting up with your dad for dinner.
Yep.
And then we're walking around the restaurant and he's showing me pictures.
Yep.
Okay. And he's like, people are sitting here eating and he's like, that one right there, Raj, and I'm looking, and it's him and Frank Sinatra. And the people that are eating are looking, and they're not sure if it's your dad or not, right? And then we go to another one, and there's one with Elvis, and we're going around the place. And then he says, well, John's sister's going to come with us, right, that night. And he was just a little bit concerned and everything like that. And I said, listen, she'll stand right next to me. That's it. This will be old school. We won't even let her out of our sight. He goes, oh, yeah? And I said, your sister, I said, come over here for a minute. I go, you can't leave my side. And I said, you just stand right here, and that's the way it's going to be. And your dad goes, man, you are really old school dad. What's going on here? And we were laughing and stuff like that. And
that was a good time.
Man, there's a lot of.
There's been so many.
There really
I love
is.
it. And we still have many years of the tradition left. Final thought from you, Jake Ellenberger?
I love the tradition. I'm glad it's still going. And the last thing, I'm going to predict the Chiefs win 28-24.
28-24. I also am on the Chiefs bandwagon. I love that quarterback. I'm not going to give a score prediction. Do you have a Super Bowl prediction?
My prediction is that if everybody goes one way, they're already talking about the one guy, and I wouldn't even say his name, the quarterback. They're already saying that he's going to be the MVP.
Yep.
And if everybody's thinking all these great things for one team so much, and all the money's going that way,
You go
not
the
that
other
I
way.
like San Francisco, but you got to go the other way, John.
And not that you have any sort of history in sports betting, but we'll
No
talk about that
history
some
in
other
sports
time.
betting at all.
Vegas Junkies Super Bowl weekend. We'll see ya. That was good.